Hey everyone, I'm Fine and welcome to my math crafting series. Today we're talking about Lady Tinder in Strife. And yeah, this is what I would do is I calculate. I would try to find out what are the best items for my purposes when I'm playing Lady Tinder. When I play Lady Tinder, I try to be the best support ever. So I'm trying to get as much shields and heals as possible. And so we will do that. Okay, my idea is it's every time in a game I want to get the most gold efficient item I can get right now. So the next item I will buy is the item which gives me the most value for my gold. So the question is which gives how to calculate value. I calculate value by an arbitrary number I made up, which is called value, and it represents the value of the item for me, and it's just how I think what different things affect my gameplay with my support Tinder. So I calculate the value of I calculate the value of an item by adding up the heal of my Tinder touch, you don't see my hand, the heal of my Tinder touch, the shield of my Stonebark shield, and potentially the shield of a spirit ward if we have a spirit ward. I, however, calculate 2 times the heal in because the heal is more important than the other two because it hits multiple targets. You can use it multiple times. You do use it between team fights, stuff like that. So the heal is a little bit more important. Okay, so let's take a look at this. You see a lot of numbers here, obviously. So these are some base values. So this is my Tinder without items on level 6, 11, and 15. We have multiple rows here with different values, with different numbers. With the gold, it doesn't cost anything because we didn't get an item. We will calculate the cost of items in this row though. Our mana pool, which gets increased by level, obviously. Our power, which is always 100 without any items. Our mana regeneration, which is always 3.7 without any items if we don't have out of combat regeneration or are in the fountain or whatever. The heal of our W skill, we level this on first priority, so it's on level 3 when we're reaching level 6, and the shield is on level 1, which I prioritize second, so both skill are on level 4 when I'm level 11. Value of Spirit Ward shield, we don't have a Spirit Ward, so no value at all, obviously. And the value, as I said, which goes up with the leveling of the skills, obviously. So we will use these numbers as base to calculate the value of items. We will see how this goes in a second. Okay, I do not calculate in anything like damage of the ultimate or damage of a bindweed because there are effect to gameplay, but I will focus on the support part of the game with my build. So I will ignore these for the time being. However, if I get a close call, if I have to make a close call between 2 items, I will think about that and see if it makes a difference. If one item gives me more damage on my ultimate, for example, than another one would. So in the early game, we need a lot of mana regeneration. So I will try to get that. My goal is to get around 9 mana regeneration. So 9 mana per second, which we get if we buy 2 clarity shards and 1 clarity stone. That basically is my goal. To get an equivalent of that. So the question is, or not the question, yeah, the question is how much value does this mana regeneration gives us? Because we have to obviously calculate that in as well. If we buy an item and put mana regeneration in there, we just cannot calculate the power it gives. We have to factor in the mana regeneration as well. So I started to calculate the value of mana regeneration first. So to do that, I calculated the value of a power shard. So multiple steps. You calculate the value of a power shard to get the value of mana regeneration, to get the value of items which include mana regeneration. Okay. The power shard, simple item, 450 gold. Let's show it to you actually. Why not? So here, power shard, 450 gold gives 6 power. 450 gold doesn't affect mana, obviously here 6 power. So it's our base value on level 6, plus 6 is 1/6 power, obviously. Rest is not affected. Effect of skills goes up because it's calculated with multiplied with the power value, power factor, and we get a new value, which is 381.6. So now to calculate the value of the power shard, we subtract this new value from the minus the baseline. The other way around. We subtract the value of the baseline, which is this one, from the value of the power shard, the time of the being when you have the power shard, to get the value of the power shard. So 381.6 minus 360 is 21.6, which is the value of the power shard. So what I did here is I calculated that, so that minus that, divided by the price of the power shard, multiplied by the price of the clarity shard. And what we get is the value of a clarity shard. So this is 20.88, a little bit less obviously than the power shard, because the power shard is a little bit more expensive. So it's a little bit more, has a little bit more worth. The clarity stone is the same, just with the price of the clarity stone. So it has a little bit more value even than that. So we need these two values to calculate the value of our other items. Okay, so let's start with the real item, shall we? Fel Blade. We start with the Fel Blade. Where is it? There. We craft our Fel Blade with mana regeneration, because, as I said, we want mana regeneration in the early game. So we craft this item. It gives us 1.4 mana regeneration and 8.8 power. You have to calculate in here the common bonus. I always calculate my items including 100% common bonus, which means 10% more efficiency, just because of the crafted buff. So the Fel Blade costs 35 gold. Gives no mana, gives 8.8 power, gives a little bit of mana regeneration. The skills are affected obviously, and our new value is 2 times the heal, 1 times the shield, and then the value of a clarity shard, because we have 1 clarity shard in here. So our value is 412.56. We subtract the value of the baseline from that and divide it by the price, and we get a value per gold ratio, and this is the magic number. It's 0.0715. The value per gold ratio is the magic number, as I said, because this is the number which tells us how gold efficient is this item right now. So the number as on itself doesn't tell us anything, obviously, but if we compare it to gold per value per gold ratios of other items, we get an idea which item is more efficient. So the higher this number, the better the item at the point of the game. At that point of the game. So the next item we compare is the crystalline shiv. That one is a little bit complicated, because it gives mana regeneration on its own. It gives 16 power and 1.7 mana regeneration, plus 10%. At least if you're at max hit points, and I calculated at max hit points. So, as I said, I need 2 clarity shards and 1 clarity stone to be happy with my mana regeneration. The clarity the crystalline shiv will give us around 9 mana regeneration in general, 9 mana per second in total. The shiv gives us a little bit more than that. The question is, do we calculate that in? No, we don't. We calculate the value of the crystalline shiv as if it only would have 2 clarity shards and a clarity stone, and no mana regeneration from the recipe itself. So even if we crafted the V3, so okay, basically I treat the mana regeneration of the recipe plus the three clarity shards crafted in it the same way as I would treat 2 clarity shards, or value 2 clarity shards and a clarity stone. So what we have here is like 2 times the clarity shard value, 1 times the clarity stone value, plus the value of the 2 times the value of the heal, and 1 times the value of the shield. And we get a new number, is 503. We divide, subtract the baseline, we divide the value, we divide by the price, and we get a number, value per gold ratio, which is quite good actually. It's close to the one of the Fel Blades. It's basically 1.071, while Fel Blade is 0.0715. So, pretty good, but a little bit worse than a Fel Blade. Okay, next item on the list is a Spirit Ward, crafted with a Clarity Stone and 2 Clarity Shards, so let's do that really quick. Spirit Ward. And here I have to, well, let's do it first. So, we have the Spirit Ward, this item. It gives a shield based on your max mana, an active. It's an active. You click it, all your allies around you and yourself get a shield based on your max mana. It's 40%, or with the crafted bonus, can bonus, 44% of your mana pool. So it doesn't give us any power. So we have, for the heal and the shield, we have the base values, However, it gives us the Spirit Watch shield buff bonus now here. So we calculate all that together, and we get a pretty high number, and we get a really good value per gold ratio. However, this item seems to be, based on these numbers, this item seems to be crazy good in comparison to Fel Blade. However, I will not go for it anyway, because this calculation is not perfectly suited for laning phase. It's more suited for a team fight. In a laning phase, the Spirit Ward shield is useful, yes, somehow, but not far as useful or important as your heal is, because you need your heal. You need your heal all the time to heal up your teammate and yourself in the laning phase, obviously, and you need it for poke as well. So, like this looks really good, but it is totally overvaluating the Spirit Ward for the laning phase. So I put it in here for demonstration purposes, but I will not go for it because the numbers are misleading here. However, the Spirit Ward will be a good item later on. We will see then. Okay, another really good item on the Tinder is Blessed Orb. For obvious reasons, then the Blessed Orb gives a bonus to all shields and all heals, 15% or 16.5% if you calculate the crafted bonus in it. So what this does is it gives us some power, because Blessed Orb gives power as well, 10 or 11 with crafted bonus. It gives us the mana regeneration we need, and on top of that it gives this 16.5 bonus on our shield and our heal, which increases the value of our skills a little bit more, and we get another quite good value gold ratio here, but it's a little bit worse than the Shiv and a little bit worse than the Fel Blade as well, obviously. Okay, for more demonstration purposes, we put in a Diadem here, and calculate that as well. Diadem is obviously a terrible item in the early game. Actually, how did I calculate that? Ah, okay. Crafted, not calculate. Like that. Diadem is obviously a terrible item in the early game because it is based on your mana pool. And it gives power based on your mana pool. And your mana pool in the early game is obviously low because it gets up with level. So, yeah. Let's see if that's true though. So we get a Diadem, we calculate in the value of the mana regeneration, 2 times Clarity Stone, which is actually a little bit less than Clarity Stone and 2 Clarity Shards. And oh yeah, we calculated the power here by multiplying the mana pool with their 5.5%, and we get a pretty terrible value. So yeah, for demonstration purposes only, but Diadem is not a good starting item. I will not put in here a power conduit. We could, but just let's put it that way. I put it in later, but in general, power conduit is just a terrible, inefficient item. It gives you power, okay. So if you're going for power, you want to get it, maybe, at some point, but on the late game, because every other power item, Fel Blade, Diadem, Grimoire, they all have a better efficiency than a power conduit. So as long as you have other possibilities for items, don't take a power conduit. So we will not put it in here, but it will have an even worth value than the Diadem, I guess. So, okay. So, the best item obviously here is it seems like the best item is the Fel Blade. We could go for a Shiv as well, I guess, but I like to have a starting item when you go in lane, because it gives a decent buff for level 1 fights and engagements, and an unfinished item, like we would have with the Shiv, like we would start with 2 Clarity Shards, will, yeah, not give us this buff. So, Fel Blade is a pretty good starting item, I feel, so we go with that. So, we calculate a new baseline here, and we calculate on level 6 and a Fel Blade. So this is our new baseline. It's level 6 plus Fel Blade, and yeah, we have obviously exactly these stats. We have 108.8 power, 136 heal, close to 120 shield. The value is a little bit lower here because I did not calculate it in the mana regeneration here. I could, but it makes things just more complicated, and we don't need to, because if we look at these numbers here, what we do is we take this value, subtract it by this value, And we would have to put in a Clarity Shard and a Clarity Stone in both of these builds, because there are in both these builds. We have the Mana Regeneration here. And so they would just subtract each other out. So we can just leave them out from the beginning. So yeah, let's ignore them for a time being, shall we? So that's why the value is a little bit lower than here, which looks confusing, but it is actually not. Okay, so this is our new baseline. So every item we buy now is compared to this baseline. So we try the shift again, because we still need mana regeneration. However, a little bit less now, because we have one Clarity Shard in our Fel Blade. So we craft the shift a little bit different this time. We do something like this, I think. Yeah. Put a power shard in there, because this is enough mana regeneration now. And our new value is 536, and if you compare that to the base value, it's like 135, I guess, value for the item. And we get a value per gold ratio around 0.071, I guess. Okay, so Spirit Ward in here again. But again, only for demonstration purposes only, because it gets a really crazy amount again. But still, we're still in laning phase. If we go starting with a Fel Blade and then rush a Spirit Ward, we're still in the laning phase, and the Spirit Ward is not doing us too much help in the laning phase. So let's ignore that for the time being. Let's look at the Blessed Orb. That's way better. Blessed Orb starts to shine here. So we craft the Blessed Orb is a little bit different as well, obviously, because we have one Clarity Shard already. So we go for one Clarity Shard, one Clarity Stone, and a Power Shard. So this is our Blessed Orb we would get. And it gives the 16.5 buff on the heal and the shield again. And that makes for really good efficiency here, which is higher than the one of the shift. Diadem is terrible again. But it looks like the Blessed Orb is a really good choice here. So our next item seems to be the Blessed Orb. And if you think about it, the Blessed Orb is just broken in Tinder. It's really, really, really that good. Because at least if you're focusing on the heal and the shield, obviously, if your purpose is to get your support stuff up, it buffs just your main skills by a lot, by 16.5%. That's a lot, and it gives another 10 power, and obviously the components. So yeah, Blessed Orb it is. So we make a new baseline because we decided for our next item. So this baseline is basically, at that time we are around level 11, I guess. So our new baseline is level 11 base stats, this one, plus Fel Blade, crafted with the Clarity Shard, plus Blessed Orb, crafted with the Clarity Shard, the Clarity Stone, and a Power Shard. And so that's our new baseline. Right. Okay. The value is a bit higher now because the skills leveled up, so we got basically this advantage here that the value is going higher. But it doesn't matter because we don't compare this to that or anything. We just compare in one row. Always compare, only compare in one row. And so what we need now is we need some max mana, because Tinder needs a lot of max mana. I like to have like 900 mana in the late game with Tinder. I guess you could go with a little bit less, but not much less, because you will run out of mana in team fights if you don't have that much. So I guess you could go like 700, but I would not go lower than that. So if you do that, you have to you would have to adjust this a little bit, I guess. But it should come out to to similar things anyway. So to calculate the value of mana, as we did with mana regeneration earlier, I did the same trick. I calculated the value of a power shard at this point of the game. It's obviously a different value now. It's like 45, while it was 20 here, because our skills got leveled up, so power is worth more. And then transferred the value of the power shard to the value of a mana shard, mana stone, mana crystal. So the next item I craft will go full mana. Will be crafted with full mana, no mana ward. So let's compare some items we can get. One would be the Spirit Ward, crafted with full mana. So let's take that. I think I split one up normally because I like to have smaller components in my items, so I go with that. As a reminder, Spirit Ward gives a shield based on your max mana to you and your allies. around you. So it gives a lot of mana here. 2 times per mana shard, 1 times mana stone. It doesn't give power, so we're at the same as the baseline. So our heal and our shield are not getting buffed by that. However, we get a 309 shield from the Spirit Ward. And now we're in the teamfight phase of the game. So now our value calculation is actually decent to calculate in the Spirit Ward. So this number is pretty accurate, as I feel, for the value of the item. So this is a really high number in comparison to the other two we get here. So let's take a look at those as well. The Diadem's not a bad choice if you think about it, because yeah, we're getting max mana now. Why would we not go for a Diadem, right? So let's do something like that, I think. 2 mana stone, 1 mana shard, right? Oh yeah, and don't forget we added in here the 2 times the mana shard and 1 times the mana stone for the value. So that adds up as well. And so Diadem, we have a lot of max mana now. We calculated power. We get a really big buff in power because the Diadem gives power based on our mana, and we have 650 mana now, so that's quite reasonable. Our skills go up. We don't get the Spirit Ward buff though, and we add in obviously the value of the mana shards and the mana stones as well. We get a quite decent number, but it's lower actually than the one of Spirit Ward, and it's more expensive, and that shows in the value per gold ratio. So Diadem is worse at that point than Spirit Ward, and by a significant amount actually. So that's quite strong. You could still argue, yeah, power Spirit Ward is not that important in between team fights and stuff, but even if you calculate it a little bit different, like say we're calculating the heal a little bit more in the value number or something, still the Diadem is worse than the Spirit Ward. The Spirit Ward is just really good at this point. I think the item is in general way underrated by most people. It's really strong. It's really strong shield, especially. Oh yeah, I forgot something to mention here, which makes the Spirit Ward even stronger. The Spirit Ward gets buffed by the Blessed Orb we already have. So the Spirit Ward shield is 0.55 of your max mana multiplied by 16.5%, or not multiplied, plus 16.5%, which adds up to 51.2%, I think, of your max mana pool. So you basically 50% of your mana pool as a shield. And remember, I aim at 900 mana late game, so that's a 450 shield for you and your allies, all of them. That's pretty good, and it shows the numbers. So yeah, Spirit Ward is the item of choice here. Power Conduit, we don't have to talk about that. It's like, seriously, shit item. Well, I have to admit, I always ignore the other effect of the Power Conduit. It's the kills and assists restore 20% of your mana over 5 seconds. But how should I calculate that in? I don't think that's pretty strong. It's super situational. It's only after a kill, so in some team fights useful, I guess. But it's super situational, and it's only 20%. If it would be 50%, I would think about it. But 20%, that doesn't change much. So I don't think Power Conduit is a good item at all. But whatever. Okay, so we're at this point. We take the Spirit Ward. So this is obviously what we take next, actually, but let's do the math anyway. So we have a new baseline. We're talking about level 15 now because we're getting late game. Level 15 with the Fel Blade, a Blessed Orb, and a Spirit Ward, and Spring Boots in between somewhere. And we still need more max mana because, as I said, I aim for 900 mana, and so we do the calculation for mana again. We have to do the calculation again because the value of a power shard changed again because we leveled up and our skills are getting higher, so power is worth more and stuff like that. So we're doing the calculations again. And we look at the Diadem, crafted with max mana again, as we did earlier. I will not show you, you know the item now. And we kept out our 908 mana, that's fine. We got a lot of power now because our mana pool is so big. We got get a lot of power by this Diadem, we get a really good value, actually, as well. So the Diadem at this point is a really strong item, but the other point is we're running out of options, at least for support stuff. So if you're looking for full power here, Diadem's obviously way better than Power Conduit. You could, however, take other items at this point. Don't get me wrong. I don't factor in any defensive items here. If you're getting focus in a game and you feel like you need more tankiness, then don't get a Diadem at this point, obviously. Get a Dragon Shield, get a Dampening Cloak, get a Barrier Token, or a Golden Protector, or whatever, to get off this focus on you. If you feel like, oh, we really need this Hexbane now to get rid of that hail and nobody else in my team is getting it, get the Hexbane. Sure, why not? I don't like Hexbane on Tinder too much. I prefer to have it on a hero who is more close to his enemies. So I get a Hexbane if nobody else gets it, but I prefer to have someone else have it. You actually can think about cooldown reduction at that point as well. I don't think it's worth though. I will probably use I will probably experiment a little bit more with it in the future, but I think in most circumstances going straight power and buffing your skills is more important than use them more frequently. However, it would not be totally stupid to go for cooldown reduction at that point. The point why I'm going for Diadem here is though that the Diadem is just so fucking crazy if you have such a high mana pool, and I go for a high mana pool here. And the Diadem just gives so much power, it's ridiculous. Like, how much is it? It's 50 power. You get 50 power. 50. That's way more than a power conduit ever gives. It's stupid. It's really stupid. It's like, yeah, it's 50 power by that thing, so it's just super strong. So you could think about cooldown reduction, but I guess it's not worth it in comparison to the Diadem. It's just, I don't think so. Maybe later, but then the game is over anyway. So, however, so if you need survivability, obviously go for some survivability here, or some usability like a Windrush or a Hexbane. You could put that in there, but if you don't have to, feel free to get a Diadem at this point because it's really strong. So I hope I did not confuse you too much with all these numbers. I tried to color it up a little bit, so it's a little bit more, well, less overwhelming. I guess it still is for some people, but whatever. I hope you understood what I tried to explain. If not, feel free to ask in the comment section. I will try to explain it to everyone. It's not a shame to not understand all of this stuff on the first glance. Or at all, actually. It's pretty complicated for some people. But I like numbers, so I like doing stuff like that. So, yeah. I'm very freak in that. On that topic, I guess. So, whatever. If you have any questions, feel free to put down in the comment section. And I hope you learned something. I hope it was interesting to you. Feel free to check out my Tinder guide. I will link it below the video. And I will probably link a way to get this Excel sheet as well. So check out the description. And thanks all for watching. Have fun and see you next time on the battlefield or in the arena of Strife.